do is go to services, right? And then first thing I want to focus on, uh, we probably should focus on budget, but let's go into what a lot of people I think need to focus on. If you got a cargo van, you got a 16-foot box truck, all you guys with 16-foot box trucks that went out and bought a 16-foot box truck and don't know what to do with it, outside of me telling you to go get a dedicated run with either T-Force, Waco, or Capstone, doing office supply deliveries in bulk, because you guys can get those bulk deliveries. You guys can get those palletized bulk paper deliveries. All right. So outside of doing that, you can also do small moving jobs on the side. All right. So the first thing you want to do is you're going to go into the moving job, local moving under 50 miles. So whatever your market is, you're going to turn on local moving under 50 miles. All right. And then I should also mention, let me put myself up here too for laughs and giggles. Matter of fact, maybe let me so I can make more room. I just gotta remind myself to turn the transparency back off. All right, so boom. Um Make sure to I put the code if you guys want to sign up for Thumbtack. If you found this training useful and you want to sign up for Thumbtack, Thumbtack is offering you guys $100 free using my code. So that's pinned to the top of the chat, and it'll also be in the description of this live stream. All right, so the first thing you want to go is go to local moving under 50 miles in your market, right? Now, I have my Thumbtack turned off. I really don't use Thumbtack too much these days. We haven't really used it maybe since maybe around this time last year. I'll take a look. This is just too competitive, but you guys are new, so you guys don't have options like I do, so you guys need all the options, but I'm going to train you so that you can beat out all the competitors, all right? All right, so this is the way it's going to look. All right, it's going to show you how much money you spent in the week, how many leads you've gotten that particular week, and how many views, how many people have looked at your company. Instant Book is something that they've implemented with, like in the past year or two. It's very expensive. That's if a person comes to your page and they just want to book you instantly. They don't want to look at anyone else. They'll book you instantly. You have to keep up with your calendar. So if you have a calendar on Thumbtack and you're booking jobs outside of Thumbtack, you need to remind yourself that if you book a job outside of Thumbtack, you need to go close that day or that time off in the calendar, because Thumbtack is charging you a premium for Instant Book. I recommend you don't use Instant Book. I'm grandfathered in because we've been with Thumbtack for about 6 or 7 or 8 years maybe. Now, someone told me that they're making the Instant Book mandatory. I can't say that for sure because I have an old Thumbtack account, and as you can see, I have the option to turn Instant Book on or off. Now, someone that signed up recently said they didn't give them that option, so I don't know. I don't know because I don't have a new account. I have a very, very old Thumbtack account, and I have the option because I'm grandfathered in. So that's something that you want to look into. All right, the next thing you're going to look at that you're going to set up is what customers are going to pay. So you're going to click on that, right? How much do you charge for local moving under 50-mile jobs? All right, your base price includes 2 movers and protecting padding and or blankets. Your price, I'm going to tell you your price. You should be charging no less than $100 an hour. I don't care what your skill set is. $100 an hour is what you want to start charging at. Now, you need to look at your market as well. You want to look at your market as well to see what your competitors are charging. All right. Now, we probably should do that. But you know what? I'll do that. I'll do that later. Let me just get you guys set up here. Set it at $100 an hour. Now, as you can see in my market, the average, it's going to tell you what the average is in your market. And the average is about $90 an hour in my market, right? Which is not bad. It's competitive, but you can still charge a person $100 an hour and book a lot of jobs. All right. So the next thing you want to do once you set your price is they have something called max leads. This is also something new that they've implemented within the last year or two. Obviously, the more you set this, the more the leads cost, right? But it also puts you higher in the pull. So when people are looking for moves in your market, the more you move this bar up and the more you're willing to pay for leads, the higher you go up on the page, right? So if you do max leads, you're going to be at the top. Now, there are benefits of being at the top. All right. Benefits of being at the top. You get seen more. You get more requests for leads. But remember, you're paying for these leads. So ultimately, that's going to cost more money for the leads because you're paying to be at the top, right? But you're going to also get an influx of leads all the time. All right. And I'm going to tell you how to turn that on, turn it off, and kind of set your budget for that. So the more competitive, you want to be more competitive, you're going to slide that bar all the way to the end. But as you can see, the more competitive you want your competition, the more you want to be seen, right, above your competition, the higher the lead is going to cost. And I'm going to tell you this. Up to $38 for a studio is very expensive for a lead. I'm going to show you what I've paid for leads in the past years and how much different it is now. Everything is expensive now. That's why it's imperative that when people come to you and you get a lead, that you call them quickly, you send them a quote very quickly, and then you follow it up with a call. All right. The less competitive you are, the cheaper the leads are. But you're not going to be seen. You may not even be on the first page. And if you are on the first page, you're going to be buried somewhere down at the bottom. And as you scroll this, it's going to let you know. All right. So if we go to less competitive, right, it's going to say you won't show up in the customer searches in some of the areas you're targeting. Increase your prices to appear in these areas. Now, the reason why Thumbtack is adding all these different tools is because, one, they're not public yet. They want to go public and they're still operating at a loss, right? In order for them to go public, they need to show that they're a profitable company to the shareholders, right? And this is why they're implementing this. This wasn't something that Thumbtack had. It was you pay for your leads and that was it. Now they got this. Now they got Instant Book. They're trying to figure out ways to charge you more so that they can make more money. The more options they have for you to pay more money, the more money that they can make and ultimately become profitable so that they can show the shareholders, hey, we're a profitable company. All right, let's IPO this thing and make an initial public offer, and let's go public and let's get on the NASDAQ and so on and so forth. So up to this point, they're still not profitable. All right. When we use this, when they implement it, I always put it at max. I always put it at max because I know I'm a dog and I know when I get a customer on the phone, I'm going to sell them and I'm going to book the job. All right. So I don't worry about these prices because the prices that we charge for moving are way more than this anyway. And it's just the cost of doing business. Obviously, coming in, you kind of want to set it where it's comfortable for you. All right. Just remember, the more you slide it, the higher the lead is going to be and the more leads you're going to get. So if you do slide this all the way and you're going to get way more leads, it's imperative that you're on top of those leads when they start coming in. All right. All right. Now let's get down to the nitty gritty. All right. So we took care of all of that pricing, what customers pay, so on and so forth. Now let's deal with the targeting preferences. All right. You'll auto pay for direct leads that match the preferences you set below. And this is where a lot of people have problems that come to me for coaching sessions. Hey, Mark, I signed up for Thumbtack and I'm not getting any leads. And then I, look at their Thumbtack and I see they don't have the right things set up. All right. So let's go through that now. So the first thing you want to set up is your travel areas, right? All right. So boom, you're going to click that. How far are you willing to travel? Come on. Why is it not opening? Let's see. Why is travel areas not opening? All right, there it is. It's moving slow. There it is. All right, so travel areas. Choose where you work. All right, remember, this is under the local moving under 50-mile category. All right, so the way I do it is I select by distance, right? So I check Illinois and I check Indiana because Chicago borders northwestern Indiana, right? All right, so boom. All right, from there, I go into the city of Chicago and I look at the whole city of Chicago. I cover the whole city of Chicago. Central Chicago, North Chicago, near South, Northwest, Southeast, Southwest. Now, there are some areas we don't go in Chicago, but I still have those areas checked off just in case because I still feel certain customers out. So if someone calls me from the South Side and it's a little old lady and I Google map the house, I look up the house, I do my due diligence to see, okay, this is a little old lady. She just needs an old grandfather clock move. It's not a young cat, you know what I'm saying? Someone that, my crew may get caught up in a drive-by or something moving them in or out, you know what I'm saying? Then I'll take it. But if someone calls me and they say, I'm like, where you moving from? Where you moving to? And they say, man, I'm moving from 63rd and King Drive to 63rd and St. Lawrence. I'm going to give them a quote. I'm going to make the quote very egregious so that they say no, because I don't want to move them anyway. Because 63rd and King Drive, 64th and King Drive, that's old block. I'm not sending nobody an old block, right? I'm not sending nobody on 63rd and St. Lawrence, right? Because that's STL. I'm not sending nobody on 051. I'm not sending nobody on 29th and Dearborn. I'm not sending nobody in Dro City. I'm not sending nobody in Death Row. I'm not sending nobody on M Block. I'm not sending nobody in Terrortown. I'm not sending people in certain areas. All right. And it's imperative that you know your city. You don't want to put any of your workers in tough situations. So certain areas we don't go in, but I still feel customers out. Yes, I profile. I do profile. All right. I'm a business owner. It's my job to keep people safe. Right. So I have my map on for the whole city of Chicago, but when people call, I do, if it's a certain area, I will profile a person. If it's a little old lady, a little old man that's trying to move a few boxes in and out their house to storage or something, we'll take that. We're not dealing with no drillers. All right. So I have my whole city checked. Now we go to the suburbs. All right. So over the past few years, I cut a lot of these far suburbs out. Like we used to go all the way up here to the Illinois border going to Wisconsin, right? But from where we are right in here to drive all the way up here to Zion and Waukegan and Gurnee by Six Flags, that's an hour and 45-minute drive. Now I can charge the customer, and I have charged customers for the drive there and the drive back, but that drive is very tedious. And I'm a city with 3.6 million people. We don't have to drive all the way up there to get money. There's plenty of money down here in the city. All right. So you need to kind of know your market and know how far you're willing to go. Right. So where you see the purple shaded, that's all we cover for Thumbtack. So west suburbs, we don't cover Naperville. I'm not sending a truck way out to Naperville no more. Don't have to. Oak Park, we'll cover it. That borders the city. Not sending a truck out to Aurora, Bloomingdale, Lombard, we'll cover it. Loud, no. Bellwood, depends. Bellwood is one of them suburbs that can be like Old Block. Westchester, we'll cover. Hillside, Hinsdale. But now these suburbs, no way. A customer's got to be willing to pay an egregious amount of money for me to send a truck out there. And remember, I used to cover these areas. Stop covering them. Right? All these suburbs kind of border the city of Chicago, where you see the check. All right. And where you don't see the check, I don't want to cover them. They're too far out. South suburbs, hold on. South suburbs, we pretty much cover all the south suburbs. And so on and so forth, guys. You know your market, you know your area, you cover what you want to cover. I suggest that you go through each area and you use the check boxes of what you want to check. They also have another option where you can like drag and draw like a circle of a certain area, or you can put a radius. You could put a 50-mile radius and then they'll put a big circle from your center location out. I don't suggest doing that because then you're going to end up covering maybe some areas you don't want to cover. I just go in and manually select what parts of the city you want to cover and which suburbs you want to cover. That's why you see like empty shade there, because I think this Harvey, I'm not covering Harvey. These some west suburbs that I want to cover, some northwest suburbs, north suburbs we don't cover. That's why you see some holes here. This might be like Chicago Heights or something like that. All right. So pick where you want to work. All right. Boom. Next. All right. So next. Now this is very important. This is where a lot of people mess up at. Job types. This is where a lot of people book me for coaching sessions like, man, Mark, I'm not getting no leads. I'm not getting no leads. I'm not getting no leads. So this part is very, very important. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that like button. We got 40 people in here. We got thousands of people that say they struggling with their box truck and their cargo van, but they out kicking it at the club right now. This is why I did this late at night, because after I do this live, I'm going to decide if I'm going to put it on private or not. So the people that are here, you're going to get the sauce. The people that are not here, I'm going to ask them, what were you doing Friday night? Because you're complaining on my Sunday and my Monday live that your box truck business is not doing good, but you're out kicking it on a Friday night. I'm here Friday night cooking up. I'm cooking up. And if I was a struggling box truck business owner, a cargo van owner, the last thing I would be doing right now is kicking it. I would be in my crib somewhere trying to figure out how I'm going to make money. All right. I do things strategically. Everything I do is calculated. I'm not up here at 10 o'clock on Friday night because I'm bored. Trust me, I got stuff to do. I got stuff to do. Okay. And I'm going to do what I got to do. But I plan to do this purposely this late to see who would be here. All right. Let's get into it. All right. Local moving. Tell us more about your work. All right. So boom. Let's start with a cargo van. If you're in a cargo van, the only thing you can do is a studio and just a few things. These are the only two boxes you should have checked. Now, if you want to test the waters with a 1-bedroom, you can, depending on the cargo van that you have. If you have an extended length T250 or an extended length T350 or a extended length high roof Sprinter 2500 or extended length Sprinter 3500, so anything that's extended length high roof, you may be able to flirt with a small junior 1-bedroom. You may be able to flirt with a small junior 1-bedroom, something very modest. A standard 1-bedroom, a 1-bedroom from a hoarder, you're not going to be able to move someone in a cargo van. Now, if you have an extended length high roof cargo van, you have a tow hitch on the back, you can go to U-Haul, you can rent a 6x12 enclosed trailer for $29.99, plus another $8 for the insurance. If you have a tow hitch on the back, you get you a tow hitch, you get you a 2-inch ball, you go rent a trailer. That's going to give you another 6x12 feet, and that can give you another room and a half of furniture if you need additional space. Now, that's for a person who's hustling. If you're a hustler, you're going to do whatever you got to do, utilizing whatever equipment you have to get whatever it is and wherever you need to get to. All right? You're going to let your equipment work for you. All right? So that's if you're in a cargo van. All right? Now, if you're in a box truck, you're going to select studio, 1-bedroom, just a few things. If you're in a 16-foot box truck, let's go to 16-foot box truck. You're going to select studio, 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, and just a few things. All right? You know what a studio is. You know what a 1-bedroom apartment is. You know what a 2-bedroom is. Just a few things. The customer who's going to call you and say, hey, I'm cleaning out my basement. I'm cleaning out my garage. I need about 50 boxes taken from my basement to a storage unit I rented down the road. Or I'm a law firm and I need 30 bankers boxes moved from one of our offices on the west side of town to another office on the south side of town. Or here, I got a table. My mom has bought a new table, dining room table. She's giving me her old one. Can you go pick the table up from my mom and bring me the dining room table? Small things. And this is where a cargo van is going to get money at. This is where a cargo van is going to get money at. There are a lot of people who need people to just move a few little things. They don't want to go rent a U-Haul because they don't want to do it themselves. So they'll go on Thumbtack and look for a person with a cargo van just to move a few things. Hey, you know what? I bought a new sofa. I want to give my buddy wants my old sofa. Can you pick this up and take it to my buddy? Or, you know what? I went to IKEA. I want to buy a computer desk from IKEA, but they're telling me that the contract company they use can't deliver it until next week. I need it today, no later than tomorrow. Can you go to the IKEA and pick this up for me? I'll screenshot you the receipt. They say it's waiting at will call. Just pick it up and bring it to me. This is where you get money, right? That's 150. That's 200, 250, 225 for one job that may take you an hour, hour and a half. This is where you make money at. So a 16-footer can do a studio, 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, and just a few things move. 2-bedroom for a novice person in a 16-foot may be pushing it. You may not want to do a 2-bedroom if you don't know how to pack a truck efficiently. All right. You got some modest 2-bedrooms, and then you have some people who got a real 2-bedroom. All right. They got 2 bedrooms worth of stuff, fully furnished 2 bedrooms. They have a living room set. They may or may not have a dining room set because a lot of these new build outs have an island or a peninsula. So they don't really have the traditional old dining room sets. And some of these new modernized, reconstructed, rehabbed apartments. So there may be a dining room set. There may not be. Boxes for a 2-bedroom usually average somewhere between 25 to 50 boxes, maybe depending on the customer. They may have some other stuff like some patio furniture. If it's an apartment with a balcony, they may have a patio set, 2 chairs, a little cocktail table, and maybe a grill. All right. So, if you know you're not good at packing a truck yet because you're still learning the business, you may want to stop at the 1-bedroom. But if you're a good packer, then in a lot of cases, you can put a 2-bedroom into a 16-foot box truck. Now, for the 26-foot box truck, guys, you want to go up to 3-bedroom, right? You could definitely get a 3-bedroom in a 26-foot box truck. And some 4-bedrooms, you may be able to get into a 26-foot box truck. I've actually moved up to a 5-bedroom in a 26-foot box truck, but the truck was packed tight. It was packed tight. All right. Not all 5 bedrooms are you going to be able to put in a 26-foot box truck. Some people will contest that, man, you can't put no 5-bedroom. I've moved a 5-bedroom in a 26-foot box truck. Not all 5 bedrooms are going to fit. You got different 5 bedrooms. You got modest people. You got people who aren't modest. You got hoarders. You got people who aren't hoarders. You got 5-bedroom mansions. You got what was really a 3-bedroom, but it's been rehabbed and they've turned the basement and they built 2 bedrooms in the basement, right? So it all depends. If you're new, you want to stop at a 3-bedroom. If you don't know how to do an in-home estimate and kind of gauge, you know what, this is a 4-bedroom, but we can fit all this in a 26-foot box truck. You want to stay away from it. All right. So it's possible. I've moved a 4 and a 5 and a 26, but if you're new, you want to stop at a 3-bedroom. Learn how to pack the truck and learn how to do visual estimates so that you can determine if any particular 4-bedroom that you may go look at or that you may do a visual inspection via a live chat or a FaceTime call, you can determine what they have and this will probably fit. All right. So I'm going to leave that up to you. Now, scrolling down, how far can you move items? Remember, this is the local move category. All right, within the same building. You definitely want to check within the same building because these are easy moves. You have a lot of people that are moving from the first floor to the second floor. Or you'll have a high rise where a person wanted to live in this particular building, but they wanted to live on a higher floor. But when, their lease was up from their old place and their lease is up now, this building didn't have any high floor apartments available. So they took what they had and they said, you know what, we'll put you on the waiting list. If something comes up on the penthouse floor or right under the penthouse floor, we'll let you know. Right. So what happens? The person will move in and then if something becomes available, they'll take it. And then they'll say, hey, you know what? We need you to move us from the 8th floor to the 50th floor. Right. So that's an in-building move. In-building move, and that can be a high-rise building with an elevator where you'll be utilizing the freight elevator, or it could be a walk-up where you're moving someone from the first floor up 2 flights to the 3rd floor, or from the 2nd floor to the 1st floor, from the 3rd floor to the 1st floor, from the 1st floor to the 2nd floor, or from the guardian unit, which is the basement, to the 1st floor. All right. So you're going to still charge the same amount that you would charge if you were using your truck for the labor. But instead of charging a truck fee, you're just going to charge a travel fee. All right. So if your truck fee is $100, you may want to charge a $50 travel fee. If your truck fee is $250, you got to send 3 guys, you might want to charge a $75 travel fee. Right. So that's what within the same building is. But if you're doing local moves, basically you want to check all of these. You want to check all of these boxes all the way up to 50 miles. Now, here's where people mess up at. Here's where you are either going to get leads or you aren't going to get leads. Shout out to everybody that's coming in. We got 48 in here. We got 45 likes. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. If you're going to jump into this business with your cargo van or your box truck, you cannot not check these boxes. And this is why a lot of people don't get leads. If you're going to go do small moving jobs on the side, you're going to have to hit stairs. You cannot leave these boxes unchecked. You can't just check the freight elevator button and the passenger elevator button and leave the stairs unchecked. No one's going to call you. You got to check these boxes. If you're scared of stairs, then don't even bother. Don't even bother. When I started saying that moving money is different, when I first telling you, look, you want a box truck, I'm going to tell you where to make the most money in a box truck, start a moving company. And people that have went out and started moving to either supplement or just went full moving, they always go on Instagram and hashtag me, man, Mark, you right, that moving money different because it's different. You want to retire in 10 years, start a moving company and work hard for 10 years. I swear to God, you can retire in 10 years. 99% of you not going to do it, no way. This is why I can sit here comfortably because the first trucking business I had was a moving company. We charging $300 an hour right now, baby. It's different. It's different money. What box truckers are running across the country to make in a week and trying to get to 4,000 and 5,000, do 3,500, 4,000 in 10 hours. No cap. 300 an hour times 10, plus the truck fee, plus the material cost. That's over $4,000 in 10 hours. So the moving money is different. Now, you can make great money doing smaller moves. If you do 3 one-bedroom moves in a day, a 1-bedroom is going to average you somewhere between 300 to 500. It should take you 2 to 4 hours to do a local 1-bedroom move. Local. And that's even if you're moving from one side of town to another. 2 to 4 hours. You should be able to load up a 1-bedroom. I don't care if it's on the 3rd floor. You just send 3 guys. You should be able to load up a 1-bedroom somewhere in 2 to 3 hours. Drive across town, let's say 30 minutes, and then that unload time should be half of whatever it took you to load. So if it took you 3 hours to load, it should take you an hour and a half to unload. Pretty much. That's pretty much what it averages out. 1-bedroom, you're not going to have much disassembly. So you're not going to have that much reassembly. You're going to have to break the bed down, right? You may have to break down a table, right? You may have to unscrew the legs off the couches. That's about it. That's about it. It's not like moving a full house, a 4 or 5-bedroom house. You got a lot of disassembly and reassembly and a lot of wrapping. All right. So you want to check all these boxes. Same thing for unloading. So that's for loading. Same thing for unloading. You want to check all these boxes. You're going to have to hit stairs as well as the elevator. All right. What extra services do you offer? Somebody messaged me the other day. Hey, Mark, I think I might have to go the moving route because I'm just not making no money in my box truck. Do we have to disassemble and reassemble stuff when you do a moving? Absolutely. You walk into a person's house and everything is assembled. Who do you think is going to unassemble the stuff? That's the mover's job. You're going to have to break the beds down. You're going to have to take legs off tables. You may have to take the feet off some of these sofas. You're going to have to disassemble stuff. You're going to have to break the computer table down. You may have to break down a TV stand. You may have to unmount TVs that are mounted to the wall and then remount them. Yes, you're going to have to do that. I don't understand why you wouldn't want to do that because that's time. When you have a moving company, you're charging a customer by the time, by the hour. So the more stuff they have to unassemble, the longer the job is going to take, because you got to disassemble it, and then when you get to the place, you got to reassemble it, along with loading and unloading the truck and wrapping furniture and unwrapping furniture. Right? So you definitely want to check this box, right? If you don't check this box, because I've had people didn't have this box checked, and this is why they're not getting leads, because on the other end, when the customer is looking for movers to hire, they're checking these boxes. So if they check the box and you don't have the box checked on your side, Thumbtack is not going to show you to those people. And most people that are looking for movers are going to check furniture assembly and disassembly. They're hiring movers. They're not finna do this stuff. The only people who have stuff broken down and prepared for movers are people who really don't have the money, and they on a time crunch, and they trying to make the move go as quick as possible. You'll get there. They had the beds broken down for you. You had some customers had stuff broken down and already wrapped for you. Those are the people who just trying to get the in and the out, right? But for the most part, most customers, that the apartment or house is going to still be set up. It's going to be set up, right? So you have to check this box. If you don't have this box checked, 9 times out of 10, you ain't going to get shown to nobody. Packing, you can do packing if you want. I stopped doing packing years ago. It's just too tedious. The guys don't like it. I don't offer storage. You probably won't offer it either because you don't have a warehouse. Equipment moving, you do want to check this box. Equipment moving can be like studio equipment, camera equipment. You might have a music studio that may call you, a dentist office. You know, we've moved dentist equipment. We've moved full dentist office before. Those dentist chairs are really, really heavy. So if you have a 26-footer with a lift gate, you definitely want to check equipment moving. If you're in a cargo van, you know what I'm saying? Piano moving, no longer do piano moving. But if you have experience and you want to tackle piano moving, you can check this. It pays a lot of money, but it's very dangerous to the body. And if you don't know what you're doing, you can injure yourself, especially if you're dealing with stairs. You know what I'm saying? You need to know how to take those legs off those pianos. All right? You need to have the right equipment to move them. All right? It's not a game. Piano is not a game. All right? For us to even look, before you even tell us, it's a minimum of $500 to move one piano. That's where the minimum starts at. For an upright, you got a baby grand or a grand, you're talking about $1,000 and up. Why? Because pianos are very, very expensive for one, so you can't cheat yourself, right? Because it's a high risk. Person got a Baldwin baby grand or a Baldwin grand piano. Those pianos are thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Those pianos have to be wrapped to the T. You have to know how to turn them, take the legs off, all of that stuff. So I got a guy that specializes, even in some situations, you have to do something with the keys as well. Same thing with a grandfather clock. All right. So for novice, I wouldn't recommend doing piano moves. All right. I just wouldn't. If you don't know what the hell you're doing, stay away from them. Safe and security box moving. If you have a 26-foot box truck, you can do it because you got a lift gate. If you got a van, you can do it depending on the size. You could probably lay it down in the back. Similar to the pianos, depending on what type of safe it is and how much it weighs and where it's located. If it's in the basement or up on a higher floor, you got to have the right equipment. If it's a 600-pound gun safe and it's got to go downstairs or upstairs, if you don't have a crew that's strong enough to handle it and the right equipment, I wouldn't check these boxes. All right. I have it checked because we can handle that. All right. Pool table moving, don't do it no more because, you know, you could have a person that has like a full slate pool table, like a billiard, and that's concrete slate with green felt over it. Those things are heavy. You have to take the legs off of that. So you have to have the right equipment to turn the thing on the side, flip it over, take the legs off. And then when you need to put it back together, you need to have the right equipment because that's not something you can flip upside down. I'm not even finna sit here and explain it to you because you guys ain't gonna do it no way. A lot of y'all not gonna be equipped to do pool table moving. All right. You got to have the right equipment for this type of stuff. So I would stay away from it. So coming into the space, you might want to touch the safe, equipment movement, furniture, assembly, and disassembly. This is very key right here. You need to check this box and you need to check stairs. All right. I'm going to check all of this because I got it turned off anyway. All right. So now availability. Some of you guys may be looking to do this to supplement income, so you got to kind of set your schedule accordingly. But if this is something that you just want to have open and what comes, then you just leave it open. Like ours is anytime. And then when you want to block off days, you just click block off time. And then if you know what, we're taking the holiday off. Let's say the 30th is the holiday. You're just going to block that time. And then you can edit it if you want to block, like we're going to block off from 1 to 4. If you want to block off the whole day, you can block off the whole day. All right. Let me go back. Excuse me. All right. So that's local moving. Now, another thing that you want to add is going to be furniture moving and heavy lifting. All right. This is going to be the same thing as far as your max lead. If you want to be less competitive or more competitive, instant book, I would turn that off if I were you, if you have the option. Obviously, you want to set your prices here. All right. So for furniture moving and heavy lifting, the people that go to this category, some people will go for traditional household moves for apartments and houses. But what this category is really for is heavy lifting jobs. This is where the people look for you if they need to have a huge armoire move, or if they need to have a safe moved, or if they need to have a piano move, or like some heavy piece of equipment. We had a guy who had a concrete statue head. It was like a concrete head of Caesar, and that thing was like 300 or 400 pounds, and that would be booked here. Now we charge a little bit more in this category because this is where the big jobs come from, the big heavy jobs where you need to have dogs working for you, and you need to have equipment, and you need to have people that know how to use the equipment. All right. So this is what this is for. You do want to check it if you think you're ready for furniture moving and heavy lifting. You can check that box. All right. Other categories you want to do is furniture delivery. This is where people who buy furniture from like IKEA, things of that nature, that don't want to wait for the 3PL to deliver it, are going to book. You want to set your prices here. Right here. All right. So here, this is not what we would charge. They don't give you an option for a flat rate, but usually a furniture delivery, one item starts at about $150, $175, depending on how many items they need to have picked up and delivered, is where you would charge a flat rate. You don't really want to charge an hourly rate for a furniture delivery. So if they say they got, you know what, hey, we bought something from Walter E. Smith, but they can't deliver for next week, but they have a warehouse where all the freight comes from and customers pick up. It's about 20 miles outside of the city. I just need a living room set picked up. So a sofa, a love seat, and the chair, the oversized chair. How much would you go 20 miles out and bring it back to me? And then from there, you want to be competitive. I would charge probably $200, $225 for something like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just 3 pieces. You're picking it up from a warehouse. You're delivering it. You figure the stores charge $125, $150. You do want to charge a little upcharge because you're not the store, right? So you can add $75 on top of that upcharge. You want to be somewhere between $200, $225. And that all depends. If it's more pieces, if they're getting like a living room set, a dining room set, and a family room all delivered, then you want to price the delivery accordingly, but you want to do it on the flat rate model. All right. What else? This is all for box truck and cargo van. Make sure you come in, hit that like button, hit that like button. What else? Furniture delivery, office moving, same thing. You can do small office moves. All right. You don't want to do something too big, something that you can't handle. If it's a small office, you can select the office moving, and then you want to set your parameters just like I showed you for local moving. Um, Furniture assembly is also another thing. If you're moving, you're disassembling and reassembling furniture all the time anyway. So you might as well go ahead and get set up for the furniture assembly. You can make a lot of money assembling treadmills, ellipticals, man, we in-ground basketball hoops, fitness equipment, trampolines in backyards. Like in the springtime, you get a lot of trampolines, basketball hoops, um, what do you call the the um the gazebos, um, just a lot of stuff inside the house, beds, uh, tables, Murphy beds, um, fitness equipment. Like I said, you never know. So you do want to add this to kind of supplement as well. And I'm telling you, you'll get a lot more of these jobs than you would probably moving jobs. And all this stuff adds up. If you do 3 or 4 assembly jobs a day, you know what I'm saying? You make decent money. And sometimes you have customers like, hey, I bought a computer desk. Can you go pick it up and can you disassemble? How much more would you charge me to assemble it? So you take your van or your 16-foot box truck and you go pick up the computer desk, you deliver it, and you assemble it, and you charge them an upcharge for assembling it. You're gonna make different. You're gonna charge different things for different items. All right, so these are what we charge for a desk or a table. 125. You see, the average is 73. I'm not charging $73 for nothing. If it's a desk or table, you're paying 125. A bed frame, 75. And this is a standard bed frame. This ain't no fancy Walter E. Smith or no sleep number, nothing like that. This is rails, headboard, footboard, snap in. All right, if we gotta use tools and stuff like that, then no. This is just the basic snap in bed frame. All right, either the rails or the sideboards with the footboard where you just put them in the slots. All right, and we'll even throw in if it's got slats, we'll do that. But if we got to drill the slats in and stuff like that, more money. You're looking at $100 plus. A typical chair, $50, right? This is just a chair. You know what I'm saying? Entertainment center starts at 135. You see the average here is $80. Some of those entertainment centers can be kind of tricky. So you want to make sure you get the SKU and look it up before you get a customer to quote. Bookcase, we got 65. Some bookcases can be tricky. Make sure you get the SKU and look it up. Dresser, 85. Outdoor furniture, we start at 150. Some of this outdoor furniture can take all day. Get the SKU, look it up. Baby crib, $100 all day long. All right. For you guys that would select Express, which is now AIT, it's plenty of people who still go to Buy Baby, Babies R Us, so on and so forth, and buy baby cribs, and they don't select to have the contractor through the store do the assembly. They'll come to Thumbtack. Baby crib is simple. Once you've done one, you've done them all. That's $100. That's an easy $100. That's a 20-minute $100. All right. Shelf, 75. You set your own prices based on your market. All right. What else? So that's furniture assembly. I just want to make sure I got everything. Furniture assembly. If you're moving, you can also do TV mounting. Since you'll be doing it anyway, taking TVs off, putting TVs up. Now let's I want to give you an idea of what you're going to be paying for these leads. All right, so I haven't used Thumbtack in about a year now, as you can see. But I want to show you how much money, because when I was using Thumbtack, I would set my budget to unlimited. All right, so you do have an option. Maybe I should show you guys that first, or your budget. Let's show you guys that for. So edit weekly budget. All right, boom. See, I got my budget set to unlimited. But, everybody may not be able to set their budget to unlimited and walk away and not worry about how many leads they get and how much money they're being charged. And I'm going to show you what I was paying on a day-to-day basis. So you can set your budget for the week. If you want your budget to be, let's say, 150 for the week, you can set your budget to 150. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you want your budget to be, let's see, we set for 150. Say, so your new weekly budget is 150. If you already spent more than this, you won't be charged anymore. All right, so 150, it usually shows you how much leads you're going to get. But I guess they don't do it no more. So let's see, edit weekly budget. So it used to be something here where it said, for 150, you'll get about 5 to 6 leads. All right. But, I'm going to set mine to unlimited because it's always been unlimited. So, and I'm going to show you that it's been unlimited because I'm going to show you how much money we've spent. So you're going to go there and you're going to set your budget. Set it to whatever you can afford. All right. I showed you how to do max leads. So I got $400 in my Thumbtack. That's been sitting there obviously for over a year. I guess that's $400 I'm gonna lose. But let's take a look. Let's take a look during peak time where I was running Thumbtack ads. So let's say this is last year. So on this day, I got 6 leads on June 11th. It cost me $61. Let's take a look at some of those leads. All right. So some of those leads, one lead was $22, and that was for a furniture assembly job. This was for $8, $6, $6, $6, and it totaled to $61.43. Furniture assembly. So these weren't even no moving leads that day. But let's take a look at, all right, so this day, May 29th, I got hit up twice. Remember, I had mine set to unlimited. So I got charged $59.78 earlier in the day, and then later in the day, I got charged $57.09. So this day, I had 10 leads come in. 10 leads come in. I paid damn near $120 that day on leads. All right, a few days prior, I paid $60. The day before that, I paid $52. A few days before that, $54. Actually, I paid twice this day. So I got a lot of leads this day. So this day we paid $108 for leads. May 15th, paid $53 just for 3 leads. May 9th, 4 leads cost me $52. Matter of fact, I had 10 leads that day. They charged me twice. $108. All right. And at this point, I'm getting leads every day. I'm averaging about somewhere between $50 to $100 a day for leads. The 4th, the 3rd, the 1st, April 30th, I'm going backward. April 29th, 28th, 26th, 25th, 20th, 19th, 18th, April 16th, 14th got hit up twice that day. The 13th. So I'm averaging about somewhere between $50 to $100 a day in leads consistently, guys. April 8th. So this is what you're going to pay. Now, the key to this is I showed you mine has always been set to unlimited. So being unlimited means the lead's going to keep coming. You don't have a budget set, so you get a budget set to 150, you're going to cut it off when you hit that budget, and you ain't going to get no more leads for the week. I got mine set to unlimited, so those leads are going to keep coming. So you can't be lazy and stagnant. If you're going to set it to unlimited, when those leads come in, you need to have an automated reply so that when it comes in, you can hit the button to send them that automated reply. Thumbtack is giving you the number, and as soon as you send that automated reply, you need to call that customer right away because 9 times out of 10, they hit up at least 3 or 4 other people. Thumbtack is making their money. So if they charge me $15 for the lead, and the person hit up 4 people, they charge them other 3 people $15 too. So Thumbtack made $60 just for being a middleman and connecting the dots. It's up to you to beat the other people to the punch and be a good salesman, right? Because $15 for a lead ain't nothing if you charging a person $200, $250, $300 an hour, or even if you starting out $100 an hour. If you charge a person $100 an hour and you spend $15 on a lead, and you charge a person $100 an hour with a 2-hour minimum plus a $100 truck fee, that's $300. It costs you $15 for the lead. So you already at $285 if the job is done within 2 hours. That $15 just made you $285. right? But the key is you have to be on top of it. You can't let these leads come through and then at the end of the day go back and start calling these people, because what they're going to tell you is, oh, we already got somebody. Oh, we booked somebody already. Yeah, we booked someone earlier today. Right? So if you're out doing work, you may want to have somebody else that's receiving these leads that has more time that can hit them back, because if you're out doing a job, you may not be able to be that quick. And that's just the fact of the matter. The reason why I could spend $50 to $100 a day is because if I get 10 leads, let's say on this day, April 8th, I got 10 leads. So around you can see the pattern. Right around $50 or so is when Thumbtack hits that card. They don't let it get too high. I don't even think this system, they allow this for new people. I think the new people have to preload their Thumbtack account. The old way of doing it, which I'm grandfathered in, you just put a credit card on file, and then right around the $50 mark or so, they'll hit that card. So like for April 8th, once it got to 54, they hit it. When they hit 50, they hit it again. I had 10 leads this day, right? So 10 leads is $100. If I book one job, let's say a 2-bedroom apartment that pays $700-800, that one job covered the cost of this lead, whatever the labor cost was, material costs, we charging them for that, the truck they're paying for that, still made money, still made hundreds of dollars. If out of these 10 leads, we booked 2 leads, still made money. One lead, if we booked one job out of these 10 leads this day, still made money. The only way I didn't make money spending $100 out of all these leads is if I booked a 1-bedroom or a studio and it was done within a 2-hour minimum. But if I booked anything over that, it was profit. If I booked 2 jobs, it was profit. 3 out of 10, more profit. 4 out of 10, so on and so forth. And also, the more jobs you book, people are scheduling for later on down the line, right? This is how you fill your schedule up. This is how you can look 2-3 weeks out and be like, man, I'm booked for that whole week. I got 3 jobs each day. All right, so this is how you do it. All right, so if you have the budget, set it to unlimited, like you see here. Every day, and it's gonna go all the way back for years. This goes back for years. I'm not finna sit here and scroll back. We back in 2021. It goes back for years. You can keep going. So all this money has been spent with Thumbtack. You talking about years. But all this money is turned over to millions of dollars. So I can keep going, We can keep going. Like, I can keep going back for years. So what else do I need to I want to show no credit card information. I was only last 4 digits. All right, what else do I want to show y'all for Thumbtack? One other thing. All right, so your messages are going to come up here. Obviously, I've had my Thumbtack turned off, as you guys can see, since last year, but you get repeat customers. I didn't respond to this. This is why you see that dot there. This guy wants us to move his 5-bedroom house again. All right. People's information. It'll let you know if you lose the bid or if they hired someone else. All right. It'll give you the option to say you booked it, and then you can complete it and close it out. Can I hire you again for a move February 28th, moving a 1-bedroom apartment to a storage unit? You get repeat customers. Now, here's something else I need to tell you. And this is something good that I do want to tell you. Let me get this off. I'm going to pull myself up. Oops. Let me get this off. Let me pull myself back up. All right, so boom. A good thing about Thumbtack is once you pay for that lead the first time, that's the only time you're going to pay for that lead for the customer, because the messages, which is what I was just showing you, it's going to always remain here. So when a person wants to hire you again, let's say like this person and this person, And look at this one. My movers just canceled on me. I'm moving tomorrow. I'm moving from a second floor apartment to a third floor apartment. Movers cancel all the time. Where's that one? Right here where it says Jessica Watkins. She wants to hire us again. So the beautiful thing about this is if they hire you for the first time, you pay that lead. When they want to come back and hire you again a year or two later, they're just going to come back to the original message. That thread is going to always be there. So you're not going to have to pay for that lead again. This is how you build relationships. And then you're going to, it stores all this information for you in these threads in the cloud. So you may book a customer one time, pay $20 for the lead, but you may be moving this customer every summer for the next 5 years. So that $20 lead is going to turn into thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, plus a relationship with that customer, plus the referrals that customer is going to give to her friends and family. If a person comes back, they're definitely going to refer you. All right. And that's pretty much it, man. That's pretty much it for Thumbtack.